Hey everybody, video here for you today, and I just want to send best wishes out there to everybody, whatever they are dealing with in this situation. Yesterday, all gaming equipment in Nevada got turned off. All hotels and casinos statewide closed down. All non-essential businesses closed, so I might have time to make a lot of videos in the near future, and I plan to. This is an ancient history news video. I don't know how many I've done now, maybe 7 total. We are going down to Indonesia first. We're going down to southern Sulawesi, and some research done here. An artifact found that goes way back in time, according to dating done. Let's just read. This is Cosmos magazine. It says Indonesian rocks show ubiquity of ancient human art. Pocket-sized rock art found in cave, a first for Southeast Asia. And here is a carving, and they think this goes way back in time. A simple drawing of the sun, like a sunburst or something like that. What were they trying to depict? That's anybody's guess, but carving here. They also found an etching on a stone, what they think is the upper body of an anoa, a species of dwarf buffalo that lives exclusively in Sulawesi to this day. In prehistoric times, hunter-gatherers relied on anoa for food, used its bones and horns for tool making. Other artifacts such as stone tools and butchered and burnt remains of animal bones, as well as beads and ochre, evidence of body ornamentation, indicate that hunter-gatherers used the site frequently. The plaquettes themselves date to a time between 26,000 and 14,000 years ago. So there's a 12,000 year window there, but it goes way back in time. Next story, let's go down to Kostenki in Borshevo, in Russia here. And I know Matt at Ancient Architects covered this story. But here's this region of the world. The Don River cuts through here, and I imagine that has some importance to it, but a pretty amazing find here having to do with mammoths that go way back in time. Pretty mysterious site. Let's just read. I will leave all these links below. It says oldest circular structure discovered, and it's made of mammoth bones. A mysterious bone circle built 25,000 years ago from the remains of at least 60 mammoths seems to have been too big and smelly to be a dwelling, archaeologists suggest. Archaeologists are reporting the discovery of the oldest and biggest of the roughly 70 circular structures made of woolly mammoth bones that have ever been found in Eastern Europe, measuring 12.5 meters in diameter and dating to about 25 years ago. This third such structure, unearthed in Kostenki in Russia, is so huge that no less than 60 mammoths were used to build it. An international team of archaeologists report in the Journal of Antiquity on Monday. The other 2 bone circles found at Kostenki, which is about 500 kilometers south of Moscow, were also large. As the genre goes, one was 9 meters in diameter. The massive structures provide yet more possible evidence that prehistoric hunter-gatherer groups were capable of impressively monumental, labor-intensive projects. And I encourage you to go over to Matt's channel at Ancient Architects. And Matt, I'm glad you finally found some toilet paper the other day. Here's a diagram of all the bones they have found here, and they said it was too smelly to be a dwelling. I'm not sure why they included that, if they think these were circular structures, or was this some kind of, I'm not sure about this. Maybe leave your comments below. Let's move on. Next story. I found this one personally interesting because of my 4 years of research on this subject. This is the Laramie County Library in Wyoming. It says Dr. Cheryl White drew a crowd of 134 people to the Laramie County Public Library in Xi'an, and I'm sure things like this have stopped in many places around the country and world. But it says, young and old filled the Cottonwood room to hear the presentation on the Shroud of Turin from one of the world's top shroud historians. The Shroud of Turin is a strip of linen 14.5 feet long that has been housed at San Giovanni Battista Cathedral in Turin, Italy since 1578. Prior to that, it made its first modern appearance in the hands of a French knight, Geoffrey de Charnay, in 1354. Where does he come from? Family member, was burned at the stakes, Knights Templar member. It has the distinction of being the single most studied object in the world. But more and more people are coming to the realization that this is a 2,000-year-old artifact. So what does that say? Longtime subs know that I have put the story together from square one, and I have been thorough and comprehensive, open-minded, and I'll have a final video coming on this subject. And a few things to add that are new. The most important research I've ever done and the most fascinating research I've ever done, even though I had no interest at all in it in the beginning. But that's why I thought I would be a good one to research this subject. Open-minded, just what the evidence told me. Art historians can tell you when a painting was made and how it was made, the era it was done in. They cannot do this with the Shroud of Turin. They cannot tell you how it was made. It's perfect negative. Did they know about negatives in medieval times? I think we should just lose our evasive attitude and dismissive attitude on this subject and come to the realization of what this was. And the story is kind of in the middle of what people think it is. Let's move on. Next video, let's go over to China. And they've been in the news a little lately, but this is Xi'an, where the pyramids in China are located. And I made about 4 or 5 videos probably total on the pyramids in China, but it doesn't take too long before you can find some. Here are some right here. But a pretty interesting find was made down here. Let's just read. It says a team led by Songham Hu of Shanghai Provincial Institute of Archaeology analyzed animal bones recovered from the looted 9th century AD tomb of a Chinese noblewoman called Xu Shi and determined that she was buried with at least 3 donkeys, according to Science magazine. Fiona Marshall of Washington University in St. Louis said donkeys were not usually buried in such high-status graves, even in northwest China's Tang Dynasty capital of Xi'an, which was located at one end of the trade route known as the Silk Road. The donkey bones found in Xu Shi's tomb, however, were too small to represent useful pack animals, and they also showed wear similar to that found on animals who run and make frequent turns. So they theorized that these were polo-type animals. They were playing a game like polo in today's world. Pretty fascinating. Ancient texts indicate that she was married to a skilled polo player who won the favor of Emperor Shizong. She may have also played the popular fast-paced game, which usually was played on horseback while riding a slower, safer donkey, Marshall explained. To read about the tomb unearthed that is decorated with paintings depicting a family feast, I'll leave a link below. Let's move on. Fifth and final story, let's go down to Iran here, and I've talked a lot about Native American artwork in the ancient U.S. Well, this is the province or the county, I guess, of Khomein. Artwork found down here looks a lot like Native American art. I'm just going to read a story, then share just a brief clip I filmed up at Red Rock Canyon. Here's a story. This just came out a couple days ago, and if you can hear something in the background, my brother is making dinner. He just found out he is not going back to work for at least 30 days. It says, Ancient Mantis Man petroglyph discovered in Iran. Here is a look at that ancient petroglyph. This was found at the Tamara rock art site, and they have no idea how old this is. They think it could be as young as 4,000 years old and as old as 40,000 years old. But I really can't say what logic they use to make that determination. But this looks like Native American rock art found in different areas of the American Southwest. But let me just play a clip that I filmed up in Red Rock Canyon about 2.5 weeks ago when my son was out here.
Hey everybody, video here for you today, and I'm up in Red Rock Canyon with my son. It's a nice day, and I'm in a little different part of the park than I usually make videos at, but we're at a place here that has ancient petroglyphs. Let me just read this. Rock art images are found throughout the world and may be one of the earliest forms of human expression. To scholars, they are cultural clues to the past and reveal how people express their ideas. To the native descendants of the people who made these images, they are symbols of ongoing traditions and still have meaning in their lives today. And right back here is one of the best spots in the area for ancient rock art, petroglyphs, and you see a bunch of them there Not sure what they mean. They've got this area fenced off today. They've got it protected, so I don't really want to walk back there. But those could be 800,000 years old, and there's no real definitive answer to what they are, but pretty cool spot in the canyon. Native American rock art, left open for debate.
Here's a look at the rock art site. It says it is presently impossible to tell exactly how old the petroglyphs are because the sanctions on Iran prohibit the use of radioactive materials needed for radiocarbon dating. However, expert Jan Brouwer and Gus Van Veem examined the Tamara site and estimated the carvings were made 40 to 4,000 years ago. Those are 5 ancient news stories. I encourage you to go watch Matt's video on that 25,000-year-old mammoth structure. That is some ancient history news in this crazy world we are living in today. Hope you thought that was interesting. You all have a very safe day.